Hi everyone, X here, and as y'all may have heard, Blue Archive will once again be appearing at Anime Expo 2026 or AX in LA, setting up their own booth as well as hosting a special panel session on July 3rd or July 4th depending on where you live. And similar to last year's AX panel, it will feature a number of developers from IO Division, including those from MX Studio, aka the studio in charge of Blue Archive, and interestingly Cha-Min Seo, the project director of Project RX. In case you don't remember, Project RX is the new game title in development by RX Studio, MX Studio's sister studio. Thus, in today's video, I'm going to be discussing about Project RX, as I'll be going over everything that we know about the game so far, plus I'll also be talking about the Project RX news that I would like to see be announced during the AX panel. I'll also probably be making a video on whatever RX stuff gets announced on the day, so keep an eye out. Though whether it'll be a react video or whatever, I'll let future me decide. Anyways, without further ado, let's get into today's video. Disclaimer, I just finished making this video when Project RX's Twitter account suddenly announced the name of 4 of the characters: Minnie, Merling, Shami, Ohana. So when you hear me talking about the characters later and I'm not mentioning their names since I recorded this video like last week, just allow me, okay? I can't be asked to change it all to put your names in. Y'all will still know which characters I'm talking about, and it's just for this video, alright? Thank you very much for your patience and understanding. So let's start by going over everything that we know about Project RX thus far, i.e. all the information that has been currently released. If I get anything wrong / if I accidentally miss out on some stuff, please do let me know down in the comments. First off, according to an October 2024 press release from Nexon Games' official newsletter, Project RX's development initially began all the way back in mid-2023, with Nexon launching a temporary task force to work on the game before evolving it into a fully official development team called RX Studio in 2024, who are dedicated to developing and progressing this new title. In that same press release, as well as in another article in December 2024 that was published under their Nexon Games Insight blog, they released a bunch of teaser images showcasing several of the game's characters. As you can see, they are simply a group of cute girls with their outfits and aesthetics being pretty different from Blue Archive's. It feels sort of a bit more mystical-like, but they are adorable nonetheless. Plus, Nexon Games also confirmed in the newsletter that project director Cha-Min Seo, Blue Archive's second PD, is in charge of the project, while Yutoka Mizu, the illustrator of several Blue Archive students such as Miyako, Miyu, Oji Mika, Saki, Yuzu, Kisaki, etc., is serving as the project's art director. They also briefly spoke about what kind of game it is in both articles, stating, Project RX is a subculture game based on immersive storytelling that allows players to enjoy interaction with characters. It features lifestyle content that can be enjoyed with charming characters and aims to realize a vibrant world and characters through high-quality 3D graphics utilizing Unreal Engine 5. With PD Cha also adding, it is a subculture game where players and characters can build memories while facing various problems and adventures in our daily lives alongside each other, whilst also saying, the goal of Project RX is to portray an alternate world where one can live alongside beautiful girls or bishojos, and we are creating it while contemplating how to express the feeling of living. I'll leave the links to both articles in the description. You can go read them if you like, especially the one on their blog. It covers a bunch of topics. The next time we heard about any Project RX news was on March 6, 2025, when Nexon Games' official YouTube channel uploaded episode 2 of their IO Division story interview series, with Kim Yong-ha, Cha-Min Seo, and An Kyung-sop, Blue Archive's producer, going into detail about Project RX's development. I won't talk about every single thing they discussed in the video. If you want, you can go check it out yourself. Link in the description, but some important highlights that they covered include, firstly, they wanted to create a world where we can immerse ourselves and live together alongside beautiful girls, aka bishojos, with the keyword / theme for this game being lifestyle. And the game has strictly no connection or overlap with Blue Archive, with PD Kim emphasizing that if they had established the game to have an association with BA, it would simply be considered Blue Archive once again, like a clone or a sequel. So instead of trying to connect both games, they decided to focus on how to give Project RX appeals that differentiate it apart from BA, though the goal is to obviously make the game succeed just like Blue Archive, with the BA team also offering their support to RX Studio. Next, Project RX uses Unreal Engine Engine 5, with PDCHA stating that it was chosen as it would be better and easier for quality support. Plus, since Nexon Games uses Unreal Engine in a lot of their games, he wanted to apply it into a subculture game like Project RX, allowing for a natural process. PD Kim also mentioned that while they could have technically used the Unity engine, there was content that they wanted to implement in the game with UE5, and they also have a lot of programmers who are highly competent with this engine, hence their decision to switch to UE5 this time around. Finally, while they didn't specifically confirm the game's genre, PDCHA did say that it is not an open world game, which is pretty big news. It ain't something like Animal Crossing either, nor is it like Mabinogi, a Korean MMORPG released by Nexon. Moving on from the interview, fast forward to December 2025, a new 31-second Project RX teaser trailer was uploaded on their official YouTube channel, showcasing a bit of the game's slice-of-life gameplay. As you can see, the three girls are chilling, just doing their own thing in the living/dining room. One of the girls just drinking a boxed juice on the bench in, I wanna believe, is the garden? I'd assume they're living in some sort of dormitory, so that's why it's super big. Plus, one of the girls is also using ketchup to draw on omurice maybe, and we're also watching a horror movie with a literal scaredy cat. Looks a bit like Raura, not gonna lie. Another thing to note is the technology they're using is a blend of modern and vintage ones. You can see they're using a CRT TV, but there's also a contemporary coffee machine, and one of the girls is using a modern laptop. So it'll be interesting to see how they explain/incorporate this into the game's worldview and lore. Not to mention, the end of the trailer also shared a glimpse of a few characters' skills/ults, as well as the weapons they use. Thus, it's safe to say there's gonna be some form of combat in this game, though we don't specifically know what kind yet, like turn-based or hack and slash, or something entirely different. Final thing I like to touch on about the trailer, and I'm sure you've noticed, is that the character models used are all 3D, and it really cements the game's description of being an immersive 3D game, with the models actually looking really good. It hopefully will allow the devs to experiment with different and unique features/modes within the game. Dating/marriage system. After the teaser trailer's release, on the same day, the channel uploaded episode 3 of the IO Division story interview series, where the earlier 3 once again talked about IO Division's growth, Project RX's development, and Blue Archive's future. You can go watch the 11-minute interview yourself if you want the full deets, but a few important points they mentioned were: 1. They wanted to create an isekai world that people would actually want to live in with Project RX. 2. The combat has already been developed, but they decided to mostly omit it from the trailer because they wanted to manage expectations. 3. At the time of the interview, the game's build was fully playable, with everyone in IO Division partaking in an internal playtest back in September 2025, with the feedback being, and I quote, "not bad at all." Number 4. They hired way more people, even doubling the size of their division, as they didn't want to simply take people from the Blue Archive team and throw them into working on Project RX, which is why they are still recruiting talented people to work on BA and RX, as they feel it's difficult to find people who want to develop subculture games in South Korea. So if you're interested, now's your chance. From the interview, we jump all the way forward to about a month or so at the time of writing, May 14, 2026. As reported by Invent during Nexon's Q1 2026 earnings briefing, the company confirmed that Project RX will also be launching on consoles, alongside its standard PC and mobile releases, with this being extremely huge news and has piqued even more curiosity about its gameplay, especially since most gacha games that release on console are usually big in scale, with a lot of them also being open world. But as we know, like I mentioned, Project RX is not an open world game, so it could be something like ZZZ or HSR, where it's way smaller areas that you can teleport to and run around in, or something entirely different. Either ways, it's gonna be very interesting to see. About a week after, on May 22nd, Blue Archive Ian's social media team announced that Blue Archive will appear at Anime Expo 2026 to host Blue Archive and Beyond, a special panel by IO Division, which will feature a number of special guests, including Executive Project Director Kim Yong-ha, who oversees both games, Blue Archive Deputy Project Director Lee Jun-ho, BA Scenario Director Oh Hyun-seok, the GOAT Mitsukio himself, who is also Blue Archive's music director, our fellow Sensei G Clef being the MC and interpreter, and most importantly for this video, like I said earlier, Charmin Min Seo, Project RX's PD, whose presence at the panel means that we'll be getting more news and developments about the game pretty soon. If you're still unconvinced, well, on June 16, Project RX's official EN, JP, Korean, and Chinese Twitter accounts were created, with 4 of them announcing their AX 2026 booth, as well as the booth cosplayers who will be cosplaying 4 of the characters that appeared in their teasers. Plus, Blue Archive's AX 2026 website even has a whole section promoting Project RX as a guest appearance at their panel. So, in my opinion, these basically confirm that there will be huge news about Project RX revealed at AX. Thus, we have reached the end of the current Project RX timeline for now. We'll most likely know more about the game in about a week or so at the time of writing, and personally, I'm extremely excited for whatever news they reveal at AX, because I really want to learn more about the game. Plus, it helps that it's probably one of my most anticipated gachas, especially since it's being developed by Blue Archive's sister studio. Though, on the off chance that we don't actually get any news about the game, then, well, I'll look like an idiot. Now, for this next and last section, I'd like to talk a bit about what Project RX news that I would like to see be unveiled at AX. Though I definitely can't predict everything that they will announce during the panel. By the way, just to clarify, I am super excited for any and all BA news to come out of the panel as well, whether it be merch, updates, whatever. Let's hope they address the elephant in the room too. It's been there for weeks. Don't think I'm jumping ship or anything, hell no. I love Blue Archive with all my heart and I will be playing both games. Just that for this video, I'm going to be focusing on the Project RX news that I want to see. For one, I like them to give us arguably the biggest and most significant announcement, the game's release window, which to be honest will most likely happen, and I would personally love to know at least the launch year. I reckon it could be 2027, I feel like maybe 2026 is a little bit too soon, even though they have been working on the game for a while now. Plus, according to this article, Park Yong-hyun, the CEO of Nexon Games, did mention that they are aiming to launch the game by next year, and I feel like they'll save the exact launch date for after their playtest/betas, though of course I could be wrong. My own prediction is that the character reveals, worldview introductions, etc. should come out soon, then beta tests and pre-registration sometime this year. Maybe they start around August to September, then finally it launches early next year, obviously not taking into account any developmental obstacles and delays. Aside from that, I'm also pretty confident that they'll finally give us the game's official title, as I feel like AX will be the perfect stage to do such a grand reveal. I mean, we can't keep calling it Project RX now, can we? Plus, the IO Division Twitter account has made a few videos where the GOAT Kim Yong-ha was asked about Project RX's name by Min Seo, in which they struggle to think of a name, and in another, the former dodges the question by jokingly scolding the latter. So I feel like they finally have the answer and they will take the chance to unveil Project RX's official title during the AX panel. Not only that, I also hope they give us more gameplay footage by releasing maybe another trailer, cause again, the only thing we've seen in regards to the gameplay are what I presume are a few character alts and the girls chilling in some sort of lodging area, which might be our lobby or perhaps a social space. Thus, I like them to give us more info on what kind of game it is. Well, we know it's gonna be a fully interactive 3D game with beautiful girls, and it's not gonna be an open world, nor is it an MMORPG. But I do wanna know if the combat is turn-based or hack and slash, etc, etc. And personally, I also hope they give us a bonus look at some of the game's unique content, let's say a dating system finally, as they did mention that the game has lifestyle content designed to interact with memorable characters with the player living together with them. But again, we'll see when the time comes. Lastly, I would love for more characters to be revealed during the AX panel, whether it's in a new trailer or whatever. And this is probably the news I'm most looking forward to, because while I am digging the designs of a lot of the girls so far, for instance this fox girl that kinda looks a bit like ZZZ's Miyabi, the silver-haired Gyaru who reminds me a bit of Hololife's Shiorin, alongside the blue-haired Kani who were both featured in one of the posters, the twin drill-hair lolly with the red ensemble, and the brown-haired girl carrying whatever the hell that is. None of them have properly grabbed me by the balls yet. Maybe their personalities will, who knows. But I'm strictly talking design-wise. Hence, I'm hoping they show off more of the game's characters during the panel so that I might have a chance of finding my main Project RX waifu. Essentially, my Kayako/Suzumi of the game, so to speak. Preferably, I would like them to reveal a white-haired twin-tail/ponytail, bratty yet slutty, cute and funny lolly with some nice curves. Kinda like Ilya, I guess, who calls us senpai. Remember, no sensei cause there is no overlap with Blue Archive. Or maybe a hot kind blonde/blue-haired maid whose only desire is to serve us. But hey, we don't always get what we want. One last thing I like to just very quickly touch on, and this is something that I personally hope that they do not announce. Regardless of whether it's at AX or whenever, I hope to freaking god they don't release an English dub. Like, please do not implement EN dub. I understand that the game might be big in scale since it's gonna be on console, so they might want to attract more players, especially the mainstream gacha gamers. In my opinion, that's a problem on its own, though I'm not gonna get into that in this video, but Lord, EN dub is the one thing I don't want in the game. Disagree with me all you want, but this is something I ain't compromising on. Most anime ENVAs, in my opinion, are problematic. They will try to fit their own agenda into the game. Like, imagine if Blue Archive had EN dub. Those dumb cunt VAs would be saying retarded shit like, oh my god, the community are full of pedos. Why are they using sobbing emojis? The fictional characters are children. Blah 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 blah. Even thinking about the possibility of that happening is really pissing me off. Plus, I personally don't think they'll sound anywhere near as good as the JP or Korean dubs. Maybe I'm just old school, maybe I'm just being a spoil sport, but I don't want an English dub for Project RX. Look, if they implement it, I'll still play the damn game, though I sure as hell won't be happy, but hopefully that's something that doesn't come to pass. Anyways, that's all for this short video. Let me know if you guys are hyped for Project RX and what y'all are most excited for about the game if you are, and I'll see you guys in the next one.